Hello and welcome. Today we are absolutely going to put on our detective hats. We're going to solve a really common mystery that so many Subaru owners run into, that dreaded P0456 check engine light code. All right, let's just dive right in and crack this case together.
You know that feeling, right? You're just driving along, minding your own business, and then, bam, that little orange engine light pops on. It's so easy to get that sinking feeling in your stomach, but what if I told you it's not just a problem? It's really a message, a clue that your car is sending you, and it's just waiting to be figured out.
Exactly. So we're not going to look at this like it's some huge repair bill waiting to happen. Nope, this is an investigation. And guess what? You're the lead detective. And that code? Well, that's your very first clue. This is all about feeling empowered, not panicked. So just like any good investigation, we gotta start with the evidence. Let's get into what this kind of cryptic P0456 clue actually means. Okay, here we go. The car's computer says it found a very small leak in something called the evap system. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but don't worry about it. The key words here are very small. That's often a hint that we're looking at a pretty simple fix. But first, what in the world is an evap system?
Let's make this really simple. Just imagine your car's fuel tank is a big soda bottle full of gasoline. The evap system is basically the super tight cap and the bottle itself. It's designed to stop any of those gasoline vapors, the fumes, from getting out into the air. So a P0456 code just means your car thinks that cap is just a tiny bit loose. See? Not so scary.
And here it is. This is our official case file. These are the 4 most likely suspects, and we're going to start with the easiest one. We've got a loose or maybe a non-genuine fuel cap, a damaged seal, or a faulty drain valve. We're just going to go through these one by one, methodically, starting with the number 1 culprit.
All right, let's bring in our prime suspect. You know, in any good investigation, you always start with the most obvious clue, and in our case, that's the fuel filler cap. And thankfully, it's the easiest and cheapest thing to check.
So you might be wondering, why does a loose gas cap trigger such a specific warning? Well, as our source material here points out, if that cap is loose, the pressure that's supposed to be sealed up inside the fuel tank just isn't, can't be maintained. Your car's sensors are so sensitive they can detect that tiny little change and they immediately sound the alarm.
So here's what you do, and it's so important to check it the right way. It's a super simple 3-step process. Just go to your fuel cap, turn it clockwise, righty-tighty, and listen really carefully. You should hear at least one loud click. If you don't hear it, or if it was loose when you started, hey, this might be your entire fix right here. Just tighten it, clear the code, and see if it stays off.
Okay, detective, what's next? So you checked the cap, you heard the click, but a few days later, the light is back. Now, this doesn't mean you're on the wrong track at all. It just means our investigation has to go one level deeper. The cap itself could be the problem.
And this lays out the next steps perfectly. Take a really close look at that cap. Is it an aftermarket part? Our source really stresses this. A genuine Subaru part is designed for a perfect seal. Also, check out the rubber gasket on the cap. That little ring. If it looks cracked, or brittle, or just worn out, it can't do its job, even if you hear it click.
So, you've tightened the cap. Maybe you even replaced it with a brand new, genuine one, but that pesky light just keeps coming back. Okay, it's time to look at some of the less common, maybe slightly more complex culprits. But don't worry, the logic we're using is still exactly the same.
Our 2 remaining suspects are the seal and a little part called the drain valve. The seal is just a simple gasket right where the filler pipe meets the cap. If it's cracked, vapors can get out. Simple as that. Now the drain valve, that's part of the system that lets air into the tank as you use up fuel. If it gets stuck open, well, that creates a leak the system will definitely detect, and you get our P0456 code.
So the takeaway here is pretty clear. Once you've completely ruled out the fuel cap, your investigation just logically moves on to these 2. You can easily do a visual check of the seal yourself, just look for any cracks. The drain valve is a bit trickier, sure, but now you know exactly what to ask a mechanic to look at, which can save a ton of diagnostic time and money.
All right, we've followed the clues, we have interviewed all the suspects, and now it is time to close this case. Let's wrap up our entire investigation into a nice, clear, final report.
This right here is your ultimate takeaway. It's a simple checklist that follows that golden rule. Start with the easiest and cheapest fix first. Just run through these 4 checks in this order, and you've basically followed the exact diagnostic path a professional mechanic would. It's logical, it's efficient, and it saves you from jumping to some really costly conclusions. And you know, this is really the whole point of this, isn't it? The source material says it perfectly. By just taking a few minutes to understand what your car is trying to tell you, you empower yourself. You can make an informed decision, and you can potentially save yourself a lot of money and a whole lot of headaches. That is a huge win.
So, we've officially closed the case on P0456. It really makes you wonder though, doesn't it? What other intimidating warning lights or so-called complex problems on our cars might be hiding a surprisingly simple solution just waiting for a curious detective like you to find it? Thanks for joining me on this one.